Hey, Bobby here. I tried to go live, I'm not sure what happened, but I am here because do you find yourself putting things off? Like maybe there's a couple of things that you really want, but you just keep pushing them to the back burner. I'll get to it someday. Maybe, when, right? Well, if you can relate to this, hit that like button down below. Tell me I'm not alone, because I've been there. And also, if you're here and you're catching the replay, do me a favor, just put hashtag replay down in the comments. It just allows me to see who's been here. I like to see who's here and who's watching and checking in with me. It helps me know that I'm providing good things for you. So today, I'm going to give you 3 tips to stop putting off what you want to do, whether it is in your career, whether it has to do with your health or wanting to lose weight, or whether it has to do with, paying off debt or just reaching some financial goals. Those things are things that you've been putting to the side, and I'm gonna have a little chat with you to maybe reel that back in for you. Tip number 1, okay? Here we go. Tip number 1, find something that matters to you more than your excuses, right? So if there's something important enough on the line, you're not gonna wanna spend time watching TV or scrolling through your social. You're gonna wanna work towards that thing, right? And the issue isn't really procrastination or being lazy. It's just that maybe that thing that you want isn't important enough to you to get it done. Have you ever thought about it like that? Because maybe that thing that you want is just not important enough. Tip number 2, find a reason. Don't just say you have no reason to go for something that you want. Find a reason. Get out a journal or a notebook, and I want you to write down. Ask yourself these things. What must you do it for? Who must you do it for? How is your future going to be affected if you don't do it? One of the questions I ask women all of the time when we are talking about goals and making changes, like I interview you to really get a feel for where you're at. And one of my questions is, what will your future look like if you don't, decide to do this, start right now? Okay, so that's an important question for anything that you want to do. How is your future going to be affected if you don't do it? Then I want you to write down all the great things that could happen if you just dove in. If you just dive in and go for it, what are the great things that could happen for you? And that's where you want your focus to be. And lastly, tip number 3, just take the first step. One of my favorite quotes, you don't have to see the whole staircase, you just have to take the first step, by Martin Luther King Jr. And it's true, because when you start to look at something too far in advance, when you start to think about like 5-year goals or 10-year goals or whatever, when you think about those things that you want in the future for yourself, sometimes it can seem completely out of reach and almost impossible. And what that does is it actually causes us to feel overwhelmed by it. And then we start to just push it to the back burner and push it to the back burner. And maybe one day I'll get started on, paying that off. And maybe one day I will finally lose that 10 pounds. Or maybe one day it's been 12 years and I still have that baby belly. That's not the case. Just take that first step, okay? It's when you start with what you can do. So rather than looking so far into the future and having what you want seem and feel so overwhelming or impossible, start with what you can do right now. Number one, it helps you stay more balanced and in the present, right? And number two, each step you take toward that thing, as you take each step, you start to create habits for yourself. And in creating those habits, you get a little bit closer to what you want your end result to be, or working toward, right? So that's those are my 3 tips. That's it. Nice and easy, simple. If you're here, just show me some love. I would love to know that you stopped by. Click on that heart down below, or just tell me you're catching the replay. All I want to say is, if any of this resonates with you, and whether it's in your health and fitness, whether you've been trying to think of some way to earn some extra money for yourself, right? Extra income, whatever it is that you want, maybe you want to change your career, whatever it is, right? If you're ready to take that first step, I want you to fill out the form I'm going to post in here. Okay, fill out the form and let's talk. That is your first step. Do me a favor, like below. I really, it helps me know that I'm bringing you enough to the table for you. I want to make sure that I am providing you with what is valuable and helpful and inspirational and all of those things. So have a great Monday.